Hello, everyone. Welcome to Farewell Yellow House over here at Going Crit RPG, who has so graciously hosted all of us. Before we get right into introducing everyone, I will very quickly introduce myself, and then we're going to get into some of the amazing programs that you can also get here at Going Crit RPG. I'm Josephine. I will be your housekeeper tonight. I will be cleaning your shoes, raking the lawn, and all the things. Don't worry about where you might find your shoes. I'm at Scary Dog Friend on Twitter and TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok, uh, but I exist. That's pretty much it. I'm here to tell this story and make my friends go through some mythical hell, pretty much. Going Crit RPG has a wonderful selection of shows, one with which I may be also on. To start us off in the week, Hellions of Karnacht is Mondays, 4 p.m. ET. Manhattan by Night is the Vampire the Masquerade game we got going on Tuesdays, 9 p.m. ET. Reckoning and Dawn Shadow, our finale will be October 6th on Thursday. Follow Going Crit RPG on Twitter. There's also an incredible Patreon where you can find some spicy shit if you love that. And VODs will be available right after the show on Twitch and a week after on YouTube. So, all of that programming kind of speeding right on by. I'm going to kick it on over to our lovely Abaddon.
Hi, hello, that's me. I'm Abaddon. You can find me at Abadarlings on Twitter, where I'm doing my level best to become the confessional poet of tabletops. Today, I will be playing Lozette Lee, an antique stealer with a sense of whimsy.
Amazing. Indy.
Hi, I'm Indy. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at It's Mr. Mask. I also roll on at Dice Comics. You can find us where you ever podcasts. And I'm here today to play Horace Kong, an investigative journalist who might be just a little bit estranged from the.
Rook.
Brooke, I believe you're
Oh,
muted.
we're not getting you. No.
No.
We'll just rock on super quick as Rook figures that out.
You get it?
Joan?
I'm Joan. I also known as the Rogue Senna. That's how you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. And I will be playing Forsythia Scythia
Hi,
Jones.
I'm Rook. You can find me on Twitter at RJK Games.
There we go.
What? Can you hear me now?
Oh, good.
Hello.
Yes.
I think that might have been 2 minutes ago, Rook.
Uh-oh.
I think there is a slight delay there for sure.
Sounds like
Rook
it.
can time travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Doctor.
Joan, finish up.
Rook's at the UK time zone.
Yeah, I'm Forsythia Scythia Jones, and I am a photographer.
Thank you, Joan. Rue?
Hello, my name is Rue. I use they, he, or z pronouns. You can find me on Twitter as at IlanaKnight13. And I will be playing Satana Tansy Lee, who uses they, them pronouns. And Tansy is a tribe member, and specifically is the art teacher at the Reservations Community Center.
Yes. And finally, Amber.
I'm Amber, also known as the Space Jamber on Twitter and Twitch. Just gonna make it simple here. I am playing Tom Poole tonight. Tom uses they, them pronouns, and they are the cocktail waitress or cocktail waitress There we go. With a penchant for all things creepy and crawly. So excited to be here.
We're going to take actually a very quick break so that we can make sure that our wonderful Rook can make sure that he can also introduce himself. So give us
Yes.
1 moment, please. Hello. Super quick, let's try again. Rook, could you introduce yourself very quickly?
Hello, everyone. I'm Brooke. You can find me on Twitter at RJK Games. Today I will be playing Riley the Occultist.
Amazing. The 6 of you, although you may have known each other 5 to 10 years before, seen each other perhaps every now and then, maybe sometimes in the same university, but in different departments, different cities, different worlds. All of you have one interesting link that, at the very least, when you have conversations with those of your loved ones outside of this family, the one thing people always get hung up on is, what do you mean you're related to this person? What do you mean that you have seen them? What do you mean you've known them before or have their number? Scientists, entomologists, occultists, museum curators. And I promise there are certainly more, but there are more and less anthropological careers that exist in this family, but these are the ones that are certainly the most noticeable. We center around these 6 different stories that will converge just oh so very conveniently in the story. We are going to start with a drawing of the cards. So we have 6 of them, and each of our lovely family members have a prescribed number. So we're going to go with the one at the very top, and incredibly, aptly, we have 20, which is the garden. They're not going to be very easy to see on stream, I apologize, but I'll do my best. The garden. Tom.
Hmm?
What is your living situation right now? Is it an apartment? Is it what's sort of the situation?
Yeah. I'm in an apartment right above the bar that I work at. I mean, it's just the world's simplest and quickest commute. Although some of the neighbors can be quite raucous, but usually they're all cleared out by the time I end up heading to bed anyway. I live in a studio apartment, probably about 400 square feet max. It just the bar owner I work for kind of took pity on me, and said that I could live above the bar as long as I worked there, especially since as a student needed all the help I could get to make sure that I could afford to comfortably, do my studies, but also make it to and from work on time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tom, you are a biology student
Mm-hmm.
at Blue Belladonna University.
Mm-hmm.
One that, much like many of the universities that are under this family's care, is funded considerably by our matriarch, Diana Lee, who we will get to very soon. We'll say that there is a usual sort of mailman knock that you hear, sort of just making sort of the rounds. Apparently this it's like an open apartment building that the mailman can kind of come into. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's 2022. And whenever you sort of get the chance to check out the letter or your mail in general, you notice once again a beautifully put together, curated, gilded, milky white paper, the thick cardstock. This is another invitation to Diana Lee's birthday, which coincides also with the Lee family reunion. It is her 101st. And the font, seemingly handwritten by Diana herself, says, "You have been invited to Diana Lee's 101st family reunion." This time, the letter is a bit different, just from looking at it. There is a wax seal rather, which is, Diana's a fancy lady. Of course there's a wax seal. But this time, there is sort of a symbol rather than the usual cursive capital D. There's a little symbol of a gazebo inside of the wax seal. What is your sort of reaction to receiving this?
First, like, Tom, I'm at first a little set aback, like, to be. I mean, we've all been part of the family. I've been part of the family for a while too. I mean, but this is such a momentous occasion that it's just, I don't want to say harrowing, but that it's the word that comes to mind first, and that's the word I'm going to stick to. To realize, like, Diana, it is such a momentous occasion for the family, and who knows if this is going to be the 101st and the 100 and last. So, yeah, I think there's some, like, reverence that Tom feels at first, and then, like, a little, like, rueful smile at at the gazebo in the D of Diana. Like, okay, I understand. I see what's going on. Can't wait. Does it say how to give a RSVP, or is it just you show up when you show up?
Does Diana have a smartphone? No one really knows. It's seemingly she has all correspondences is just letters. But upon opening, it's a little bit different this time, rather than the usual. This is Diana Lee's family reunion. Like the same sort of almost. She could just make this an email, like copy and paste, but she very clearly handwrites however many she writes every year. With love. This time, however, instead of just getting right into it, the letter starts, "Dear Tom."
Damn.
And the rest of the letter basically says, "Dear Tom, my garden, my free-flying little bug throughout my many flowers. I'd like for you to come this year to the reunion. I know it's been difficult for you. It's felt strange to you before. But there is something very special and also very dire Please find it in yourself to make the arrangements to come. And if you need money, that is never an issue. With all my love to you, Diana.
Yeah. Tom, like, ugh. Tom, like, folds up the letter like this. It's posted. It's next to my desk, goddammit. And just kind of holds it close to their chest for just a second while they ponder over the letter, read over it a couple more times, and then I gotta go. They kind of say, mostly to themselves. Gotta go. Like, it's worth missing out on a couple days of, tips and shit. But yeah, I think they resolve to respond in the way Diana has sent out this invitation, and just a quick little note in the mail. Like the angel oak, like on the cardstock with like the angel oak from Charleston on the front. Dear Diana, thank you so much for your kind invitation. I'd be more than happy to take you up in this visit. I'll see you soon. All my love and stars in return. Yours, Tom Poole.
And however you make sort of the travel, however comfortable you choose for that to be.
Yeah.
Tom
It's
Poole
like a Spirit Airlines flight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tom Poole has officially been invited to the reunion. We'll go on to the next card. 27, which is our lovely Forsythia. Forsythia, can you tell me what is sort of your living situation right now?
Well, right now I still live with my parents in our apartment on the Upper East Side in New York City. It's a pretty nice apartment, I guess. And I I have a bedroom and there's a nice view of the park. And I like to hang out on the fire escape sometimes.
Amazing. Forsythia, similarly, rather than a mailman just showing up in front of your house, there is a similar sort of like quirky little like sing-song knock. As we'll say that you're sort of are you like sitting at your fire escape at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. Just kind of fiddling with my camera, maybe looking over some recent photos.
It is your mom, Esther Lee, and in her hand she has sort of not an unfamiliar nor an irregular sight for you, a letter from Diana. Diana and you have been exchanging letters whenever either of you have the time, but Diana certainly makes it a point to check up on you. The most recent letters, we'll say, have been from maybe a week apart. There have been poems that she has been recollecting from the 1800s and from all sorts of anthologies where she attributes one of these poems to something from your gallery or a picture that you sent her. And Esther, your stepmother,
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful, sort of slim, stressed, but in a very effortless sort of beauty. Sort of a haircut she is not going to ever change, because who needs to change your haircut at this point? Just blunt bangs, sort of long but medium at the same time. Hands over this beautiful letter to you.
Thank you.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, I just said thank you.
Okay. Your mom sort of sits next to you, or maybe she feels. I think she's a little scared of the fire escape, honestly. So she just kind of like, politely puts her hands like sort of on the railing, looking over at you, and sort of says, "She's been sending quite a few many letters as of recently. You haven't had a show or anything? She's just been writing?"
She just likes to share inspiration with me, and I like to read the poems that she sends. They're old, but they're really good.
She's always had an eye for that. Well, I don't need to tell you some things you already know. I'm sure that's going to be your invitation to the reunion coming up.
Mine? Why would it be mine and not yours?
Well, I mean, she's been writing to you so frequently at this point. Would it be totally messed up of your grandma to send you a personal invitation?
I guess not. I just thought that if I got invited, it would be with you and Dad.
Your stepmom looks a little, not sad, but there is definitely a kind of bittersweet look to it. Maybe you're familiar, just depending. You know that your stepmom in general deals with certain levels of disappointment, especially from her own parents. Sort of just like kind of thumbing away at some of the sweat down her neck. Well, we've sort of talked about this a little bit anyway. This may be the year.
Oh. Oh. Well, I hope not.
We all hope not. Can I tell you sort of the more stressful conversations my siblings and I have been having?
Yes, go ahead.
I think this is where she finally like kind of slowly descends to like sit down next to you.
Oh, wait, I'll come inside.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, great. Sounds good. And the both of you sort of come inside. We'll say that she had coffee going, so she offers you a cup. So I'm not sure if you remember too much about your... And then she kind of is like calculating which family member is technically what role in the family, because family tree, lineage is all messed up. You're Diana's fourth son. Third, fourth?
Uncle?
Young Chul. Yeah. He is another museum curator. Apparently, he's been starting up somewhat of a bet. And I don't want that to... I don't know what I can specifically do about it. He doesn't have children of his own. He doesn't really listen to anyone. But I know that Diana means a lot to you. And he has been certainly he's been troubled. He is troubled. I hope that whatever we can do to make this reunion a good one and not one where, your great uncle will ruin it. Just wanted to let you know, because it might be another complicated year for one of these meetings. Reunions, rather.
Well, I'm mostly just take pictures anyway. So I'm sure I'll be okay.
Let me see something so quickly. I don't know if this is a specific roll, but let's do just a little roll. Give me an intellect. Just regular difficulty. So with your D100.
Oh, D100.
Yeah, with your D100, if you roll under your intellect, which is a 65, then you'll get this.
Okay. Oh, I get a 73.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
There's something in your stepmom's eyes once she hears you say that you remind her that you are the photographer for these family reunions. She the thought diminishes in her eyes and she just sort of shakes her head. I hope that we have a good time. Go ahead and read your letter. I have a couple things to look over and then I have to head out to work. Let me know.
Okay. I try not to worry too much.
I'm going to. I do want you to know that. I will worry a lot. But we'll have a good time. We'll have a good time. And then she walks to her room.
Okay.
And once again, sort of looking at the wax seal that you have, rather than the usual cursive D, it is funnily enough, it's a wax seal. The little symbol is of an envelope. And you open it, and it is not a family reunion invitation.
Oh.
But it is one of Diana's usual letters to you, ones that are addressed to you specifically. And it's not a poem either this time. It's sometimes she just goes straight into it, but it's certainly more of similar to Tom, although whether or not you know Tom, we'll find out. Dear Sithy, and you are always Sithy to her. My firefly, my little light. I'm not sure if you are feeling well these coming days, but I would implore and would love to see you at this reunion. I believe this is going to be one of the more beautiful ones. As my flora, my gardens have been flourishing spectacularly this year. I would love to see your take. And just sort of a general affirmations, very grandmotherly, unsolicited advice every now and then, but she ends the letter again warmly. And again, what is your feeling after reading this letter?
I think she's happy that it's not an invitation, because that would be formal and kind of scary. And she's excited to hear that the gardens are doing well, and she's like, oh, I better bring my macro lens for this one, because I'll probably be able to get some really good shots of the blooming flowers and maybe even some insects. And I think as she's thinking to herself and like planning a shot list in her head, she folds the letter up, and she has an ornate old jewelry box that doesn't have the tray anymore, and on the top it has an illustration of like dragonflies on a river with lily pads, and she opens it, and inside is a stack of letters from Diana, and she neatly puts it with all the other ones and closes the box.
And again, however comfortable you decide that your transportation is going to be, it doesn't have to be a Spirit airline.
I think she takes a train regardless of how long it's going to take.
Totally. Moving on, we will go to 13, which is our friend Riley. Riley, what's the living situation?
Yeah, I think Riley has a pretty decent flat, 1 bedroom near to the university, which name I have forgotten. Sword Hill Oak University. He lives fairly close to campus, in a nice student flat.
Yeah. Can you remind me, Riley, what is sort of the receptacle with which Schick comes out from?
Riley has an ace ring on his finger, which is the item that Schick possesses most of the time.
Is there any kind of warning that Schick really kind of gives you whenever he's interested in coming out?
There is the feeling of cold, not harsh, not sudden, kind of like opening a fridge on a summer day, and then there is the smell of dirt and ash. Again, gentle. Yeah, the cold, the smell, and the feeling of a finger tapping Riley's hand.
And almost the tapping turns into a smoky full hand that emerges from your ring and grasps onto your finger with the usual concerning lack of warmth, but with a frontward somersault, this smoky ghost child that has been inhabiting your ring for the past who knows how long at this point. Messy black hair, sort of historically, who knows what kind of clothing is going on. It's very like beige potato sack, whatever. But the weight of his hand is real. He kind of is like tugging your finger, and are you awake at this point, or is he just kind of like, are you like fully doing homework, or how do you think he shows up?
Yeah, I think Riley is like, I think he's sitting in the chair reading a book, and without even like looking at Schick, he's just like, "You all right, buddy?"
It's mail day.
It is. Is it mail time?
It's almost mail time. And I want to see the mailman.
Do you want to look through the window, or do you want to be outside?
And like just kind of slack jaw looking at you a little bit, like very clearly wants to go outside, but also is like, he did just kind of somersault into existence, bothering you. So he just kind of goes, whatever you want.
Riley will put a bookmark in the book, set it aside, kind of like both hands kind of like slapping his knee, just kind of gets up and is kind of like, "Come on, let's go wait outside."
And you're accompanied by your little ghost child friend. Well, this is a flat, so we'll say that the sort of mail situation is normal and there are not mailmen coming to your door for whatever reason. And there are like set sort of mail little lockers. Lockers, you know what I'm talking about. And eerily enough, as soon as the two of you sort of make your way downstairs, however long that is, almost perfectly timed, Schick makes a little gesture, a little noise whenever the mailman puts the mail into your slot. We'll say it's just sort of like a woo, and then the mail goes in, mimicking the little sound of like the tinny box receiving the mail, and Schick just kind of does like a victory pose to nobody but you, as you have mail.
I do. Yeah, I open my little cubby thing. I get out the mail. I kind of like glance through them to see if there's anything appropriate for like Schick to open himself, because he's like sort of corporeal. Like he could probably like hold stuff. So just seeing if there's anything appropriate for him to take.
There's like a wine ad. There is the person that lived here before has like, we'll say a sex toy subscription that they keep forgetting to not send to your house or your mail. So far, no. However, there is an incredibly, compared to like the cheap sort of paper of those other two advertisements, there's the thick, milky cardstock of, honestly, maybe you even forget that you still get these. But it's an invitation to the 101st reunion. The wax seal is of sort of the, almost like a locket silhouette of kind of a short figure. And that's what the little symbol is.
I kind of look down at it for maybe like 10 seconds, just like standing in silence in this like the entryway to this building, and kind of like look at Chick, and I kind of go, letter for both of us. And I will start making my way up to the flat to properly open it.
Schick hangs off of your shin, just like holding onto your leg as you drag him up the stairs. He's not heavy, but sometimes it feels as though you could trip, but he's a little ghost child. And he's attempting to like take like can I see the other things that you have? Like fully about to like grab the things that the raunchy mail.
We'll hand him the wine ad because he's not gonna be able to drink. Like, it's fine. He can like look at the pretty like bottles and stuff. And like as I hand him that, I go, okay, but the other letter, do you remember the letter that you opened and you started screaming? It's one of those again. And I don't think you want to start screaming again.
I can handle it. I can handle it this time.
Train with that one. And if you do well with this one, we'll see if you've graduated.
Graduated. I get to graduate.
Yeah, we'll have a little ceremony and everything. As I'm just kind of like pulling him upstairs.
Yeah. How has Riley felt about? Well, actually, I'll ask. How did you go to last year's reunion?
Yes, I think that was my first.
Right. How do you feel about receiving this next one? I would think that you have heard that this is rumored to be. Well, first of all, your first reunion was her 100th birthday, so it was huge.
Yeah.
It was a very big deal. But Diana didn't think of it as that big of a deal. But even just looking at the invitation that you got, the last invitation you got did not have a fancy little symbol on it. So maybe she's pulling out the wacky grandma stops, but you've heard the 101st from your mentor even. This is going to be a big one. So how are you feeling with this sort of new letter in your hands?
Riley is a mentee of a mentee. As far as he's concerned, he's not really part of the family. But there's something about the Lee family, like ink staining his fingers or pollen staining a white shirt. It leaves its mark, and it marks you as one of them. And so he was expecting this, and he's not exactly happy about it, but it's with acceptance and resignation that he takes this invitation.
Opening the letter. It is not a usual formal invitation. It is one that directly says and states your name. Dear Riley, to my charming... I think she uses the word creepy. To my charmingly creepy Riley. To you who makes the smell of ash inviting. I would implore and adore you to come to my 101st, your second family reunion, and your second year as well. And she even writes the well, and there's like a little like pause even written into the letter. I'd like to think that you've always been my great-grandson. I hope to see you with Alice. And I would like to ask if you could keep an eye alongside Alice of my son, Alice's mentor, you know. Not that I have had any reason to speak with him in particular, but he's apparently going to be causing quite a fuss. You don't have to ruin your day. I can deal with him, whatever it may be. But I hope that you have a good time, and I will make all of the arrangements for you to come comfortably. And do bring a friend, if you'd like. With all my love, Diana. And Schick is like, what does it say?
Riley was reading aloud as like when he opened it. So she heard all of that.
Okay, cool.
I think reading this letter, we kind of like briefly get a focus on Riley's face, and his usually dark brown eyes are just slightly glowing white as he looks to Schick and goes, I guess we're going to a party.
Like a wine party with like alcohol and
Go on.
sex.
Maybe not. Riley actually has to think for a moment. Maybe not that last one. But yes.
Okay. Phew.
How are we responding to these messages? I know it wasn't smartphone, or would I just text my mentor?
Literally.
Like,
oh yeah. You can definitely text your mentor. However shit gets overnighted, like however fancy people get with these letters, or usually these letters get sent like a month out, or like, everyone usually knows this is Diana's birthday. Sometimes people send like RSVPs ahead of time. But these are usually the ones that kind of come out of nowhere for you. So yeah, you can totally text your mentor.
yeah, I think I just like text Alice being like, yeah, cool. We'll be there.
She calls you immediately.
Oh my god. Hello?
Riley.
Hi.
And she's like out of breath for some reason. I'm late to my class. Okay, but
What's new?
so you're going. Are you cool? We're gonna go. Do you want to go together?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that sounds good.
Are you bringing your friend again?
I mean, I don't really have a choice.
What do you mean by
yes.
that? Oh, because it's like he's just with you all the time.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Like-
that's right. Listen, England is fucking haunted. They're everywhere. Okay? All the little children that died. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm hungover. I'm hungover and I have to go to class. I have to teach these fucking
what's
kids.
new?
Okay. We need a plan. Because of the boss. And she calls Young Chol the boss.
Yeah. I mean, you know him better, so I don't know what's your strategy for handling him.
I'm so hungover. You have to help me. This is a fully like 40-year-old woman, like almost 50-year-old woman.
Shall we just say we're going to wing it?
Well, I'll see. We'll go to the cafe. We'll talk about it.
Okay. Okay, please, like, drink some water. Please tell me you've had water.
I've had 2 Americanos, which is like
Okay,
kind of water.
Alice, listen. I love you. You brought this on yourself.
I love
Riley hangs
you.
up.
I love you. And then those are your interactions for today. Completely chaotic as Schick screams because he opened the sex toy advertisement as you were on your phone.
Okay.
What's your travel like? Is it comfortable?
I guess I'd have to take a plane.
Oh yeah.
It would be comfortable, except for the fact that he does have a 10-year-old with him who no one else can see. And that's always a time, but it's even more of a time when you're on a 10-hour flight.
Yeah.
So it's pretty alright, all things considered.
Okay. 17. Which is our friend Harris. Harris, living situation.
Horace lives in like a basement studio, not too far from the Sydney CB. It's not right in the city. Can't afford. Just outside, leading into some of the outer suburbs. I'm thinking it's probably underneath the train station of some sort. Tends to rattle around up until trains stop around midnight. Apart from that, doesn't. He tries not to spend too much time at home.
Gotcha. Let's see. So sorry, was it an apartment you said?
Yeah, like a basement studio.
Yeah. Gotcha. Your mailmen suck. They kind of just toss some of your letters into maybe some like wet grass a little bit and then like pick it back up again, maybe fumble with it. There's like an Amazon sort of package that they're also just sort of like drop kicking to another door, you know. But you're the usual kind of like indication that it's time for mail is that there's also a loud ass dog that is just screaming at the mailman. And who knows, maybe there are babies that also like to scream at the mailman. It's a bad time. Do you bother for maybe the first couple hours of you waking up, go to check your mail?
I think there's about 20 minutes of after actually being woken up where Horace is just kind of in bed, staring at the ceiling. He hears the dog, he hears the baby, he hears just the thudding of the mailman fumbling with his mail, and he knows the sound. He hears it drop on. He hears it getting stuffed into the little mailbox. And I think after about 20 minutes, there's a sigh of defeat. Sort of woefully launches himself out of bed and walks over to the front door of the apartment.
Can you speak closer to your mic a little bit, by the way?
Oh, sorry, hang on. Are you catching me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, cool.
Yeah. The usual stuff. We'll say bills, maybe you're a little late on.
Definitely late on.
There is old mail from people, previous tenants, as there is always. Maybe a couple of promotional shit that your company keeps sending you. That's like really not necessary whatsoever. But also one that maybe finds you surprised every year it comes is the beautiful, milky feeling, thick cardstock of a letter from Diana Lee. What are you feeling?
I think there's the first thought that Horace gets in his mind whenever he sees one of these when they come is, I can't believe still sending me. And it's always such a stark contrast to the rest of the mail that he receives. Like in amongst all the promotional stuff, in amongst all the wrongly sent mail, the one really nice piece of mail is actually addressed to him, and it's the one that consistently avoids looking at year to year. I don't know, something about this year's different. I don't know, maybe it was the dog, maybe it was the mailman. Maybe it's just the pressure of the basement apartment. But the letter looks mighty inviting right now.
They look different from how they usually arrive. But I also want to ask first, what do you do with the letters? Do you read them or do you just throw them away? What's sort of the yearly?
Doesn't read them, doesn't throw them away. I think he has like a drawer where he stashes them every year, but it's not a drawer specific for them. It's just important mail. Stuff goes in and out of it, but the letters from Diana and
I didn't get that last part.
he keeps it in like a drawer with a bunch of other quote unquote important mail. Stuff goes in this specific drawer, stuff comes out of it. But the letters from the Lee family and letters from Diana never specific.
Yeah. There on the wax seal is the visage of a intense looking stork. Like the very sharp beak of it and an intense eye. Opening the letter. Although maybe you've read a couple. It's been a while since you've like fully maybe read through this one. And what it says is something so surprisingly lavish and kind. To my dear Horace Kong. To the enigmatic great-grandson that I have so far away from me. I would love to see you at my 101st, as it has been so long since I've seen you last. I still remember such boyish, inspired eyes. The eyes in the house remember you, and they miss you. And you remember that Diana has ceiling tiles that are painted to have incredible just art pieces of eyes that stare down at anyone that walks through the corridors where they might be, and definitely scares a lot of the adults, but when you were kids, they were so inviting and fun. Diana sort of continues. It hasn't been fun when I see the ones that raised you show up and you're not there. I'd love for this one for you to come. And if you need any money to make the travel more comfortable for you, I would gladly do so. With all my love, Diana. How are you feeling?
There's a tinge in his chest because he, again, in stark contrast to literally every other letter he kind of gets, it's so personal and so pointed and so very much hitting him in 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 that area that he's tried to sort of not think about for a little while in terms of his memories of the past and his memories of his parents and his specific memories of that house. But it's been so long. It's been so long since he had anything remotely resembling that kind of environment. And even though he's twisted up about it, maybe going back to it will help loosen that knot a little bit more. Thanks. I think he actually probably sits down to pen a proper response, regardless of any other way he would feel comfortable responding. Just formally, dear Tanta Diana, thank you once again for the invite amongst many invites over the years. Today, we'll be seeing you here. Respect and regards, Arius. Kong.
Yeah. You get a call on your phone.
Hello?
And it is very clearly the sort of grating voice of the new sort of manager over at Carner Bluebell. Hey, you're coming in?
Yeah, I might was about to call you. I might have to take a couple days.
There's like a very pointed pause. Well, what do you mean? We have a whole story sort of going on for this week?
I mean, yeah, sure, I know. And look, I can definitely look any editing stuff and any written stuff I can get done. You know, I don't need to do any more research. I can get done while I'm over there. I'm just saying, you know, it's kind of like it's kind of a family thing. I
Right.
don't want to bog you with details or whatever.
I'm good. Listen, if you need a couple days, totally get that. Is it possible for you to do what you've done before and you kind of crank out 3 today and then?
Yeah, definitely. I can. If I get started now, I can be done by the probably. I mean, what do you want? Just like listicles, like I don't know.
Yeah, we just need
repeating bullshit rag stuff,
things out. We just need things out, and we need it about this specific celebrity. You know, it's just he's the one. He's the one that we need.
I don't know. I feel like I mean, sure, I can do it for you. I just feel like I kind of said my piece on. I kind of said my piece on him already. But if you think we need more, then I can do more. Yeah.
Listen, you know, we just gotta pump out this bullshit, and then I don't know. Maybe we can maybe transition over to some of your ideas. But you know, things just kind of move and the tide.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I totally understand. And look, if I can get those 3 out for you now, and when we get back, we can definitely talk more about, maybe exploring kind of my stuff, maybe exploring, a couple of pitches I had.
Yeah, I totally see that. Yeah, just get everything by today, and take your time. Like, so, like, toxically, she says that. I'll see you,
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
have fun with your family or whatever, and then hangs up.
I think Horace just takes a look at his phone for one moment and then just whips it onto his bed. And probably sits down at his laptop and just sighs and starts pulling up resources.
Yeah. Horace, do you take up Diana on the money for a more comfortable travel?
Um, I think he definitely attempted to imply so in his response without being explicit.
Yeah. Um, you are wired. Are you in America right now, or is it
He's in Australia right now.
Australia? Okay. You're wired like at least a business class flight level of money.
I think he looks at the amount of money he's been sent and just thinks to himself, probably actually
You probably have to what?
I'll probably end up having a good lunch on this thing. Consider.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
It
he
dawns on you. Oh, sorry, go for it.
No, it's all good.
It dawns on you. You didn't give her your bank account number, but
I think he knows better than to dwell on that. He thinks about that for the briefest moment and then categorically puts it in a box in his mind and just shelves
absolutely.
it. Talk about it.
And from Australia, you go to a very comfortable. You're on a very comfortable flight to America. Uh, number 32, which is our very own Lizette Lee. What's your living situation right now?
Um, I have a room on campus. It's easier than being at home with my family, but I spend most of my time at the museum and in the yellow house, so I kind of just curl up wherever's comfortable. Grandmother doesn't seem to mind so much.
Where do you find yourself right now?
In my office, where I keep all of the logs of our acquisitions and things that we're looking to acquire, I'm trying to find the perfect birthday gift.
Has there been anything you've been eyeing?
Well, there are a few things that are just beautiful, carnival glass, things that are pretty to look at, magpie things. Uh, a set of glass strawberry salt and pepper shakers. The kind of strange thing that always found its way into the museum one way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're in the office, which is not, that's certainly not actually that far away considering the many of our six that are here that are states to continents away. Um, Diana at all times is just sort of a walk away. Um, how early in the morning is it, do you think?
Probably early. There's a lot to get done before everybody arrives, making sure that the seating charts are done mostly. I really hope there aren't any um, squabbles this year. I'd like it to just be a nice occasion. Uh, Probably, I'm not a morning person myself, so probably 8 or 9.
Gotcha. Do you think you have a secretary or anything like that?
I think I do. I think it's probably uh, a friend from college, somebody who was kind of like in my little pod, who just kind of ended up finding their way to work with grandmother and I. Um, Someone I can yell at when I need to.
Yeah. I think to sort of keep on this little sing-songy knock theme we have going on, uh, your little mail fairy, Hillary, your friend, maybe a year younger, uh, sort of knocks on the door and then opens it a little bit. The illusion of politeness. Um, she like pokes her head in. We'll say that she is similarly Korean or along those lines. Um, has like a very lavish tray that has like piles of letters on it. Uh, and maybe like a scone on like a random plate. She knows what she's doing. Um, but she just kind of she pops her head in. You will not believe what I just heard.
First of all, if you're just gonna enter anyway, Hill, you might as well just come on in the first place. Scone.
Oh, like two different types of scones. We have a savory one, and we also have whatever your favorite fruit is. It's strawberry.
Blueberry. Yup. Mm-hmm.
I'll just eat it. Um, Walks in, uh, truly like this tall of like a male stack for you, you know. Um, Sets your scones down. Um, we'll say she's dressed in sort of Hillary likes to push it in all sort of degrees, so business casual is it's we're on the threshold, but not really. It's more bordering on like definitely watched Secretary with Maggie Gyllenhaal. That's like such a deep cut. And she wanted to embody it a little bit. Um, but has she basically she says, so I've committed a little bit of mail fraud. Don't worry about it. I opened one of these letters. It was to you, so don't worry.
So just to run it back real quick,
Yes.
you committed
Yes.
mail fraud and made me
Yes.
complicit in mail fraud, but it's okay because
Yes.
the mail fraud was perpetrated against me?
Yes.
Continue on. Fair enough.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So you know who's always been a problem? You know, the Diana's
Great uncle.
fourth
Yeah.
great uncle. So I've been talking to some of the other ladies, like basically your like the extended aunts and uncles who have also decided to basically sleep at the mansion like maybe a week or so, couple weeks before the great reunion to like help out, even though everybody's a fucking rich person and there are people to like help with everything. You still gotta have people that are very just like to jump in. So I was talking to them because I wanted to get some gossip. You know how it is. great uncle YC, and in your own sort of like memory Rolodex of all of the Lee family members, young Lee, the fourth. It's gonna be really funny if I don't actually remember if he's the fourth or not, but he's third or fourth. Is also a museum curator and is also somewhat deals in antiques, also somewhat deals in, let's be honest, the haunted sorts of relics and things. Definitely things he really shouldn't culturally really have. But that's sort of good old great uncle Young Chul's sort of deal. Third, Hillary continues. He's starting a bet
No.
the day. He's starting a
Hillary.
bet. He's starting a bet the day of the reunion. He's gonna get all of the sort of the haunted ones. Whoever Diana's kids. He's gonna get them all together. And he's apparently even going to bring one of the estranged children. And Lozette, you would know that Diana's first son specifically kind of went dark certainly decades ago. Apparently, the third is going to bring him, first son. I don't know if the bet is related to the third bringing the first. Oh my god, I don't remember any of their names. Anyway, but the third son, he's gonna start a bet about basically whether or not Diana dies this month.
Does grandmother know?
She has to. She hasn't said anything about it, and I don't know. Y'all
These
talk every
people
day.
are vultures.
Yeah, very much.
It's her
So-
birthday. They could at least pretend that they're not just waiting for her to die.
Yeah. A lot of the aunts and uncles also want her to kind of die, is from what I'm getting.
Oh yeah. Like a majority of them.
So I don't know if there's anything you want me to do about it, because honestly, I would just continue to love to hear all of the gossip about the family and just sort of butter everybody up about it. But if first of all, is there anything you need from me or from anybody or another scone about the information I just gave you? Because pretty upsetting.
Rosette thinks for a minute, just tries to sort of calm her temper. I reached down and touched the shadow lane that's around my waist. It's a delicate, lighter than it should be thing from the 14th century that I got from my grandmother. Okay. I need you to keep great uncle as far from this place as possible until the party is over. When the party's happening, I need you to keep him as far from her as possible. I don't pretend to know whether or not it's her last birthday. I certainly hope it isn't. But if it is, I can't let him ruin it. Um, the so he's what, pulling in a ringer in what he thinks is the 11th hour? Is that
Uh, it's not confirmed, but I'm also sort of hearing that. First of all, yes, I will be making sure that he doesn't get anywhere near the office, but he will be sort of parading around the museum looking at some stuff and apparently going to make a ledger of what he's going to sell. I don't know why he thinks he's going to get anything, but
over my literal dead body? He can fight me for it.
and Lizette, the memory of the existence of Young Cho also means the existence of Alice Sa, who is his mentee, which also means that there is a relation to this next person, Riley. I want to ask do you think you've had any correspondence with Riley before?
I think I definitely have written. I think I write to as many of the estranged family members as I can. There's a lot of them, so I haven't been keeping up so well since I started school, but it's an ocean of people at this point, and it's easy to get lost. Um, I think I try to make them as ridiculous as possible. I think it's very, very nice stationery, but plastered with Lisa Frank stickers and like temporary tattoos and things tucked in there, little museum placards. Even if they go unanswered, I think I've just gotten into the habit of sending them, and now I really enjoy it.
I don't know how much you've been able to get any sort of answer, if you've even asked about Riley. Although Riley isn't the mentor of the third son, there's certainly something uneasy about Riley that you would take note of. Maybe not even necessarily. Maybe not even necessarily about the third son, Young Cho. But Hillary opens her mouth up again as this unending stream of bad news is continuing. So, apparently also, the third son is gonna try to get this Riley, who I don't know. Apparently he's gonna try to get Riley to mentor under him more specifically.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, he's a brilliant student, so that doesn't really surprise me. Be an incredible get, but I'd find that unsettling enough that I would like you to keep an eye on the situation.
I mean, I've seen the pictures of Riley. He's kind of
No,
gorgeous. Oh,
no.
not even like.
Grandmother is busting out the top shelf liquor for the reunion, so we'll see. But for now, focus.
Okay. There's lots more updates, but you have that whole stack of mail to go through and also 2 scones. So, this one specifically, and she like sorts through them, like kind of creates like a messy mail pile as she just kind of like flips through all of them. This one specifically is from Diana, though.
Oh, thank you. And I will take it. Is it a letter or is it something I would recognize as a million invitations that have been stuffed?
It's it's a postcard to Disneyland from the 50s. And we'll say that it has the like picture is maybe one of the roller coasters that came out, or some sort of like amusement like ride. Hillary leaves you to it, knows that you like to sort of spend your time with Diana's words, and says, "To my moonlight. Not just Lizette, to my moonlight. As you know, this has been a very stressful set of events. The courses that you have been, the itinerary rather, that you've been creating has been very much appreciated. I will warn that I am feeling very weary. I'm excited as I have continued to reach out to those who have maybe strayed farther away from us. But I think this year we will see an incredible turnout. I think we'll truly find that we'll see everyone this year. Not a single person missing. I don't mean to be too cryptic. I find myself getting tired a bit more easily. I am generally energetic, but I suppose family, as neutral of a connotation as the word, can still be tiring. I will see you soon. Hillary is sort of a psychopomp between the two of us. If you need anything, or if I need anything of you, I shall call upon you. And just, I think the two of you don't really have set sign-offs really anymore. It's just to the point in a way that is very comfortable. And it's still just funny to think about Hillary literally running across an entire mansion to get a letter to you that was written on the other side of the mansion to you. But do you have a response?
Is she home?
Yes, she's in bed.
My response is to do the normal person thing to do, unlike my grandmother, and put down what I was working on. I'm going to grab the tray that has the 2 scones on it and kind of tuck the note between my teeth because I have stacks and stacks and stacks of these now, and make the long journey across the mansion to her room and go find my usual seat.
The two of you have your usual whatever conversations, whatever fun little things happen. And we will go to our final 6. 39. Satana. Or how do you pronounce the name?
Satana is correct.
Satana. Great.
It's Satana, and then Tansy is the short.
Yes. Where do you find yourself this morning?
Is it a day of the week? Like, not sorry. Is it a weekday? That
Yes.
was not the right way to ask that question. Sorry. If it's a weekday, Tansy is working at the community center, which, for
Right.
folks who don't know, like on most reservations, the community center and the school are kind of one cohesive building. So whether it is a class day or not, Tansy is there, either teaching or like setting up class materials, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Um, you're finding your kids filing in. Um, I would love to ask you also, as far as reservation, like the mail system works. Is it a matter of like, is there a specific place, or what's up?
Yeah, so depending on how good your like infrastructure is, which varies from reservation to reservation, mostly the mail is brought like not every day, but like every couple of days whenever the postal service decides to drive out to the reservation. And they bring it to like a centralized location, and then if you are a like wealthier community, you have like a male person within your community that will deliver it from there. But a lot of reservation communities, and the Coastal Shumash one is one of them that does this, has like centralized mailboxes essentially that are kind of in the same space.
Awesome. As you're setting up, we'll say you have your kids that come in with TikTok blaring, that kind of thing. My brain. One of them kind of comes up to you with, we'll say, just like a cup of strawberries. Just a random cup of strawberries. What's sort of the age range of your class this morning?
Probably between like 8 and like 12, kind of, because
Yeah.
it's an art class, so it doesn't have the same level of like you need to know the thing to be in here like a science class does. It's probably like 8 to 12. Like I feel like the morning is the younger kids, and then in the afternoon I have the like rowdy teens TM.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll say it's a young girl, Chelsea. She has a cup of strawberries. And she just sort of says, just kind of saying, I saw that we're getting mail today.
Is it mail day? That's exciting. Are you looking for something in the mail?
Maybe. We've been doing this pen pal thing.
Ooh.
And I might be in love.
Oh, tell me all about it.
It's a girl
Good.
who also likes strawberries.
Oh, well, you're perfect.
I don't know. I think we have to get married. And I do think there's this TikTok dress.
Oh, okay. Tell me
That's
about it.
just
I've never
strawberries.
been on TikTok.
We've shown you TikTok.
Yes, but I don't have an account.
Would you get one? So I can show you this dress?
Maybe.
There surely wouldn't be a problem with a teacher and a student sharing a TikTok.
If I had a TikTok, which I don't, I would not tell you the username so that it was a secret. Anyway, tell me about the dress.
She just a full regaling of the TikTok
strawberry
strawberry
dress?
dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tansy does have a TikTok. They're just not going to tell this 8-year-old that.
That's so fair. you have your art class. Is there anything in particular that is on the curriculum for today?
I think like what? Sorry, what time of year is it? That's an important question.
Oh, it's like beginning of fall autumn.
Probably then like doing art that is about like the changing seasons, and doing like fall leaf art, especially with the like younger kids, like doing like tree art and stuff like that is probably on the docket for today. I probably actually what I did was went outside and gathered a bunch of like leaves that have fallen off of trees, and I'm having the kids like use those in their art projects.
Amazing. Another extremely successful art day. Um, I think something fairly peculiar happens when it's sort of like a lunchtime or like a break period. And there's someone that looks familiar to you, but not in the way that this is someone that you share space with in the reservation. This is someone that you have seen before many years ago at a particular reunion. And we'll go through this basically. It is someone of a similar age to you, and you remember running through the halls of a particular yellow mansion under the ceiling tiles of the eyes and high-fiving doorknobs and door handles that are hands and feet. This is someone, we'll say her name's Grace, and she's just like sort of looking around, seemingly has like a kind of a binder with her and saying hello to like the kids that are like playing or whatever recess sort of situation there is. She locks eyes with you, and in like this like breath of nostalgia, relief, just like so many like kind of very visible. Grace to this day can't hide what's on her mind kind of thing. She goes up to you and she gives you a big hug.
I think Tansy takes a minute and then hugs her back.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. How are you?
It's been a while. I'm good. I will say that Grace is a grandchild of maybe like one of the fifth children in the first generation, which would be Young He. Specifically that would be her grandmother, her parents being whoever the fuck. Grace just sort of says, yeah, I am kind of took on the boring business promotion that my parents had sort of aligned for me, but it's been fairly slow, kind of boring.
I think business promotions always are, but
yeah, yes, very much. And I think you remember Grace wanted to be an artist. Some things, I don't know, not in the cards. But hi, I'm here, sort of as a wild request from Diana.
Oh, that is wild. Do you want to? I have an office. Do you want to come in? It's where the kiln is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Office is a kind word for what this space is.
Absolutely. Also, pottery storage. Why not?
Oh yeah.
Comes in with you, sits somewhere, kind of hides the fact that like she doesn't know where to like place her or situate herself. Has been in many uncomfortable sort of business places. It doesn't seem to want to take up too much space. Yeah, I mean, I think Diana took notice that some of the letters weren't getting to you. I think one almost missed you last year.
Yeah, mail is rough here. It comes late, doesn't come at all, it comes torn up. Things happen. Not great.
So my company, we sort of deal with shipping also, part of a subsidiary to a major corporation. And I mean, I'm here to sort of hand deliver this and that beautiful cardstock. What catches your eye immediately? And we'll say also to fast rewind a little bit back to Lizette, the wax seal on a postcard. There is still a wax seal, was of a moon. And for you, Tansy, it was of an umbrella. I'm not only here to sort of drop this off, but Diana asked if there was if there was a way for her to donate, basically, some more to fix up the mailing infrastructure. And well, just in general, whatever I can do for y'all, I'd love to have a kind of an impromptu meeting about that today as well.
Yeah, I can. The whole council probably won't be able to make it, but the principal here is a member of council. I can go and grab her if you'd like, and we can talk. I'm sure she'd be happy to have that happen. I mean, lots of folks here would love to get mail on a regular basis.
Yeah. And for any other sort of contacts you have, would love to also kind of an incredible thing to be given money to do your job when it is for some reason hard to do your job. I get paid, I think, too much for not being helpful.
I mean, I think you're being helpful right now.
And, but yeah, here's the letter.
Thanks. Do you probably faster if I get a reply back with you than if I sent one via the mail. Are you going to be in town for a couple of days? Can I read this
Yep.
and get back to you?
Yep.
Great. We can do dinner if you want.
Let's do dinner. Grace sort of awkwardly shuffles out of your office. Still certainly the awkward Grace that you knew, but also I think she lingers on your art pieces and says hello to your kids. And opening the letter. With that umbrella symbol, the familiar, nostalgic sort of cardstock. To my marble wing butterfly. Darling Tansy. If you would find the time, I know from your very busy, careful, caring schedule, I would love to see you this year. If you have not also been counting the days, perhaps as some of your more interesting extended family likes to be. If it is to be perhaps the few next years, I would like to make sure that these years I spend with you alongside me. I've deployed... She spelled Grace wrong. She thought it was a different name. You know, I've deployed Grace to assist you with any manner of things that you need. I find it not just troubling in a more overarching manner, but I find it troubling that my words will not be able to reach you, as I would love to continue to be in contact. This year will be different, but the eyes and ears and hands still remember you, still think of you fondly, and I would love to see you there. Please let me know what I can do to make your travel more comfortable. Diana.
I think
How are you
the
feeling?
oh, very heartfelt is not a feeling, but somehow heartfelt is the right word. I think the last couple, like at least one of them has gotten lost, but the last few have gotten to Tansy invitations. Just whether it was too late, or Tansy got it and thought about seeing their parents there and just didn't want to be there, or seeing their brother and not wanting to be there. But I think reading this and seeing the care that Diana put into making sure this letter was essentially hand delivered to them kind of strikes a chord in Tansy. And they're going to grab from their desk. They have their class project example pieces are all hanging, but they have a little sketchbook that's all just sort of personal work. And they're going to rip out one of the sketches that they have of one of the doorknobs reaching out and a person's hand clasping fingers with it. And on the back of that, right. Uh, Dear Diana, this year I think I'll be taking a break from teaching, so I should be able to come to your birthday. I'm sorry I've missed a lot of the more recent ones, but no, it has never been out of a lack of desire to see you. And I hope visiting in the off seasons has been as good for you as it has for me. But I will see you this year. And I appreciate you helping not only me, but our whole community in what you've offered to do. I have a little saved up, enough for a train. I can get myself there this time. But thank you. And then Tansy. And they put it into an envelope. And they don't seal it with a wax seal, but they do seal it with one of those stickers that you give to kids on their project so they know they did a good job.
Beautiful. You and Grace have a lovely little dinner, sort of catching up. Grace regaling you on her marriage.
Asterisk.
Asterisk. Asterisk. Unhappy. Anyway. But you have a great time catching up. Um, at this point, I would love for all of us to take a break. I don't know if Fabian is around, but for now, okay, great. Everybody, we're gonna take a break. That has been our little exposition part where we have met all our family, and hopefully all of us within the family will make it to the Yellow House in this next part. So see y'all in like 10. We'll take our time. We're gonna take as much time as we need. Fuck all of you. See ya. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for saying to go fuck yourself. I didn't mean it.
Unless you had a good time.
We come back to our 6 family members. Everyone as comfortably or uncomfortably as possible. You have made it to an ambiguous place in the northeast of America that we will not be naming in particular. We'll just, it's a feeling. It's where the Yellow House resides. All of you, however awkwardly or welcomely, shuffle arriving through taxi, whoever picks you up, whoever carpools with you, to a very familiar sight. The 4 to 5 floor mansion of Diana Lee's. Not only the mansion where some of you or some of your caretakers, previous or otherwise, were born in, or grew up in rather, but the public museum of the Lee artifacts, relics of war, inheritance, and otherwise that get cycled through with different acquisitions, auctions, charities, and everything of the sort. Also, a public butterfly garden, an apiary, conservation, and many sort of other things that Diana opens her house to, despite the fact that it's still a mansion and she is still a rich lady. She does extend her arms open and welcome to, notably to all of you, she is more willing to extend her arms to everyone but her children and their children. But that's a complicated thing that all of you have a certain feeling about one way or another. You may notice a secretary that is perhaps too scantily clad to be running around helping a bunch of older people. You notice people that you have seen before. Maybe you're being approached by people who genuinely miss you, or are given side glances at people who you maybe also didn't want to see. All of you find yourselves now to sort of the great dining hall of Diana's, where people are eating. Scythe rather, is taking pictures as the reunion photographer, notably where most of you have seen her. And certainly there's Lizette, sort of the director of all of this, as well as most of you have seen her seemingly just as the museum attendant, but she does seem to have kind of a ledger where she's taking note of who is here and who isn't. For anyone that like to, if there's anything that any of you want to do while we're in this sort of transitioning phase of events. It's still sort of the beginning, basically. So there's going to be this whole talk, there's going to be a welcome, and then break into some drinks, maybe. But for now, opening the floor super quick for anyone that wants to have any specific conversations.
Is my brother here, and is he with our parents?
Yes to both.
I make eye contact with him and give a very small smile, and I do not approach them.
Do you make it a point to see if he returns any eye contact or expression?
Yeah, I think I wait just long enough to see if he, like, reacts.
He sort of, his eyes widen, and it almost seemingly as if he wants to walk towards you, is pushed sort of along by this sort of the strong arm of your father.
I'm not going to interact with anything, but how haunted is this place?
Well,
Just from a first glance.
yeah, absolutely. Let's start off strong. Give me an occult roll, please.
I was hoping
We'll
you
just
would
do
say
regular.
that. Watch me roll a 100. Oh, it's a 2.
Oh. I don't know if you get anything because of that, but I'll give you extra. Because that's below your 5th as well. So to continue on this theme, this trend of things just happening to Riley. Your ring, I think as soon as you enter into this main sort of area, bustling with people that you may or may not remember or have seen, starts to vibrate on your hand.
Okay. But no appearance. Just the sensation.
Just the sensation. However, not 5 seconds after that, just like a steady sort of like vibrating, the ace ring cracks. And
Then goes
there,
still. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
right. It cracks, stills, but then a slow stream of, let's see, a very dusty sort of smoke starts to rise. I'm trying to find one thing so quickly, so fine. It doesn't smell of iron or sulfur. It's still earthy. There's almost an inquisitiveness that is still behind this. But this is the first time Schick has ever forcibly broken out of the ring. And hasn't said anything before leaving. So wordlessly, Schick just kind of goes up into, you know how you kind of like traveling your eye to a light bulb, incense almost just disappearing at the top of a ceiling, just seemingly not there, which gives you enough of an indication that something's very clearly immediately going on.
Okay. Riley doesn't react, wanting to keep up appearances. But I'm going to take creative liberty and just say that any of you who wants to sees Riley's eyes unmistakably turn bone white and then return to brown. Just anyone who wants to. And that's all.
I think normally Sissy would notice and maybe even snap a picture, but as soon as she got there, she's carrying this really nice camera bag on one shoulder that has room for a small laptop and everything she needs. And on the other shoulder, she just has a threadbare pillowcase stuffed full of clothing. And she immediately kind of takes all the rooms that she knows that nobody uses and finds the back way up the stairs to a small attic where she likes to hang out. And she's got a nice little nest of blankets and pillows up there, and she just sets her stuff down, gets her camera together, and goes back downstairs.
Harris.
Yeah, I think for Tom, it's one of the it's just like everybody else. This is a homecoming. Over the course of their PhD program, coming to the Yellow House has been like a marker for like big milestones in this everlasting research project that never seems to find a cessation point, right? So as soon as they arrive, it's, you know, the stress of like upcoming like dissertation defense and you know, upcoming you know, research presentations and bullshit going on at the bar and everything, just it all melts away knowing that this is like the closest thing to home Tom has had since in over a decade at the very least. And I think they are gonna make a beeline straight to see if they can find Young Ho at in the like in the garden area, like in specifically I think like the butterfly garden piece.
You find your mentor smoking in the butterfly garden.
Where are they smoking? What's he smoking?
American spirits.
Okay.
Just, you know.
I'm like, is it weed? Does he have a vape? Does he like I mean
Honestly, if you ask him for weed, he will probably have weed.
sick. No. I probably have like Virginia Slims because it's like the cheapest thing you can get at like the gas station in Somerville.
Not
right?
Virginia Slim.
Why are you doing this?
Because I know what my grandmother smoked. Yeah, so hold on. I think sorry, I think my husband just tried calling me. Okay, yeah. No, we're good. Sorry. So yeah, so yeah, I think Tom is gonna find Young Ho like sitting on a bench in the garden and just be like, mind if I bum a light off you? Just a light. I brought my own cigarettes this time.
Show me your cigarettes.
Pull out the pack, and it's like that trademark, like teal and white pack with the flourish on it. It's like that's what they had on sale at the Kangaroo. before I left.
Your 66-year-old mentor takes your cigarettes and throws them on the ground.
Listen, at least the menthol in these are good.
Can you bring some, like, what does he even want to say? Could you bring some, like, real fucking man cigarettes next time or something? Like, let's get it together, kid.
Fine, I'll see if I can obtain some Marlboros. Amber, I
No.
only know like 3 cigarette brands.
No. Just, and then the both of you, like, he lets you bum a cigarette off of him. Young Ho Lee, the 9th child of Diana, although 66, kind of a silver fox, honestly. He's doing a great job moisturizing. Young Ho Lee, the most incredible resting bitch face an old man can have. He is your entomology mentor, and specifically a scientist that is continuing to spearhead the research of caterpillars that eat plastic. He just kind of sits back like a cool kid. Like, he just is such an anachronistic kind of guy. How long has it been since you've seen him?
Probably been about 6 months.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's probably been about a semester. I mean, between, him going through, the end of his tenure at the university and me finishing up, wanting to really double down and focus on mine. I mean, we've had like Zoom calls and we've had phone calls, FaceTime, whatever, but being face to face, finally being able to afford being face to face for right now is it's a real treat. It's a delight.
He hates Zoom and he hates his phone.
Same.
So every time these meetings are for the
fucking
both of you.
worst.
Like, yeah. He just kind of casually is just sort of like, I did not expect you to make it to another one of these. Did somebody bring you up to it or something?
No. I mean, listen. When Diana Lee herself handwrites you a big ass letter, personally inviting you to her 101st birthday party, the 101st family reunion, you can't pass it up. I knew it was coming. I've been saving since last year. But no, it's just worth it to see you again and see the butterflies again, see the family again. Thanks for the cigarette.
No problem. At this point, you're like, I don't even get handwritten letters from my mom anymore. So at this point, it's like, I should be getting you some kind of big gift or something by the end of this, huh?
Just your seal of approval is a gift enough. Making sure, like the checking my science to make sure all my I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and I didn't put in a sign where I meant a cosign somewhere. I think that'd be great.
You're doing a good job. Every now and then you come to the asynchronous, whatever they're called, classes, and it feels like you're definitely sleep deprived. So get on top of that.
Yes, sir.
It's nice to see you, kid.
Yeah, you too. How's everybody else doing? Your siblings? Your
When I'm
kids?
not at work, I'm at the beach, so I have no fucking
Oh.
idea.
Incredible. You deserve it, though. You deserve a break.
Sometimes you just don't talk to your family for a year, and it's great.
Tell me about it. You don't, I mean, really, you don't gotta tell me twice. How's... Who else is supposed to be coming, do you know?
Just a quick. Is that pack of menthol still on the ground?
Yes.
I think Horace, who for most of his time here has kind of been off to the side, just sort of registering people in his head and taking down names, trying to figure out who he does and doesn't remember and who he, recall. Just spies that pack on the floor and just sort of shuffles towards it, looking left and right, and just quickly picks it up and makes a very, very low effort. Is this anybody? Is this? Oh no. Okay. And just slips one out of the packet and just lights it up.
Yeah.
You can keep it. Apparently, it's not appropriate smoking material.
Menthols are smooth. Who said that?
Yeah, young ho, who said that?
Don't do
Sounds like
this.
old man talk, but
To super quick wrap up Tom and
Yeah.
Young Ho, this little
Yeah.
thing. He just basically says, apparently everyone is supposed to be here.
Right.
Horace,
Alright.
you are smoking ground cigarettes. It is a particular kind of low introduction for you, but is there what are you sort of surveying? Or you can hop into this scene also if you'd like.
it is not the first time Horace has smoked a cigarette. As I said earlier, he's been trying to keep himself kind of low while just sort of taking a lot of it in. It doesn't feel like home anymore. I feel like he's been away new to just
You're cutting up.
with a certain it doesn't feel like home anymore, but it almost feels new to him, just with that certain sense of familiarity. He's just been sort of eyeing people up and trying to figure out who he does and doesn't remember, trying to avoid any potentially awkward interactions, and just sort of gliding amongst the crowd, not really participating in necessarily a lot of the oh hi, how are you, oh I haven't seen you in a while type of stuff, because he has nothing to share.
Think come across the room, just because she has a nice telephoto lens, Scythie gets a shot of the two handing the cigarette pack back and forth. That's kind of intimate and nice, and then just one shot, really great shot of like, remind me your character's name, who picked up the
Oh, Horace
going to grab the cigarettes off the ground and kind of furtively looking around to see if they belong to anybody.
Super quick also, Horace, did you want to do, was there another thing that you wanted to do?
No, I think he's just
Okay.
very much happy observing.
Gotcha.
He's not trying to stand.
Gotcha. Lizette.
I do think that I made sure that I was out and ready in time to be kind of standing in the atrium to see everyone come in and welcome them. And even the ones that I don't fully recognize, I know I've seen their face, I know that they're family in the way that we define family, but I can't recall the name or if we ever sat down for a meal together. And thank them for coming with, I think, what is a visible forthrightness or earnestness. I am genuinely pleased that all of these people have come. But before everyone arrives, I would like to have given grandmother her birthday gift.
Yeah, so we'll say Hillary is with you, just like kind of talking through what she's already heard about like what these people already have this problem, whatever. And you're sort of like walking towards this great hall where all of basically the closer the house gets to Diana's like room, this like grand master bedroom, um the more funky the like art and the architecture, the interior sort of gets, the more like nooks and crannies and built-in shelves into walls that probably shouldn't be there. Like even there is a library nook built into a pillar, um, just with poetry, just with like short stories that your grandmother loves. Um, it gets the wallpaper is clearly more yellowed here, as this isn't an extension built onto the house. These are wings that have existed since the beginning of these houses' creation. The eyes up on the ceiling, the doorknobs that are hands, and all sorts of wonderful little things. Hillary kind of just like shivers a little bit with how creepy it is. Continues sort of talking, and you make it to Diana's door.
I knock just 3 times, short and simple. Grandmother? It's me.
You and Hillary stand there for a wordless 5 seconds.
I knock again. A little harder, a little more pointedly. Grandmother, party's about to start.
Hillary just kind of looks. Uh, should we should we go in? Does she usually sleep in?
No, no, she's always the sort of early bird type. She said she's been real tired lately, so maybe she's just resting. Um, we should go in and check on her just to make sure.
Before finishing up with Lizette and Hillary, Riley, actually, basically everyone besides Lizette, there are other sort of like foot handlers that are beginning to like show people where they're being seated, and as far as seating charts and attendance goes. All of you, Harris, Stithy, Tom, Tansy, Riley, are not being sat with people that you maybe are more familiar with, or even with your own family or your mentors. The 5 of you are finding yourselves seated kind of close to the front of this great dining hall situation, and in this circle seated all around you. It's one of those like circle tables, and all of you are finding yourself directed to this table. How many of you recognize each other?
Pansy recognizes Scythy and only Scythy at this table.
Hi.
Hello. Taking pictures again?
Yeah. You want to see some?
I would love to.
She scoots a little closer and offers to basically shows you what she's been taking so far. And the last picture on her camera is Lizette and Hillary talking on their way out of the room.
I think Tansy, because they knew Scythy would be here, brought specifically for Sethi, does like whatever part of the house, not private, but like that other people can like see Sethi in, just a sketch of that space.
Like maybe of her in the butterfly house or something.
Yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you're here. It's nice to see a face I don't want to hide from all the time.
I know what you mean.
And it's nice to meet all of you. I'm Sitana, or you can call me Tansy if you'd like.
Nice to meet you, Tansy. Tom. Cynthia, it's nice to see you again.
Hi. Have you seen any new bugs lately?
What new? I mean, I saw more of the same. If that's your definition, if that falls under your purview of new, but
It's up to you, I think.
I think, Tom, there is a incredible caterpillar by the name of Lightning McQueen that eats plastic real fast.
well, actually, there is this new species that I found recently. It's called the it's called the Materus cachowinus. And it also known as the Latin McQueen caterpillar, and it can biodegrade that fucking plastic better than any other fucking caterpillar I've seen. And then just the brilliant colors that it makes when it metamorphosizes into that butterfly, though. The brilliant reds, rust oranges, just hints of blue and streaks of yellow like lightning. It is absolutely divine.
That's so amazing.
Maybe we can well, I don't happen to have any specimens on me, but maybe I'll bring it over and you can take a couple pictures of it sometime.
Maybe if you have a lot of them, you could bring some for the butterfly house.
Incredible. Yeah, that's actually a perfect idea. But of course we need Diana's permission for that.
I'm just imagining a caterpillar that digested a Coke can. That's it. That's the whole thought. Horace and Riley just awkwardly kind of.
I think
Sitting.
Horace has just been listening in caterpillar. That name sounds. I just cannot place that.
Cutting out again.
I think Horace definitely, just having listened to this caterpillar conversation, is stuck in his head going, I've heard that name before, somewhere, a long time ago, I don't know. But just sort of nods politely at everything that's being said, and he goes, hi, I'm Horace. Nice camera.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Riley. He points to, well, he kind of gestures at Sethi and Tom. I think we had a conversation last year.
Yeah, you look familiar. Yeah. How you been?
Good. It's cool to hear about your work.
Tell us about yours. Aren't you in art or museumship?
History, vaguely. It gets complicated when your mentor is kind of like looks at whatever Alice is doing right now.
Cut to Diana, like 3 glasses of wine in at this point, and definitely flirting with somebody.
Diana or Alice?
Alice.
Oh, I was like, in her room?
Like, damn, she's busy. Understood.
Happy birthday.
Mhm.
Actually, let's just very indulgently talking about Alice. Whoever would like to give me either a library use, history, or just like just give me a library use or history. Just take a look at Alice. We'll see what you find out.
Do I need to do this, or is this stuff I? Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, you
I'll
know.
stop talking.
Yeah, no, I rolled a 76, so that's a no. Against
Oh.
my 25 in history.
What was
I
my
rolled a
number?
10
Oh
on a 90.
man. I rolled a
Damn.
26 and I needed a 23 or less.
Oh.
I rolled. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I rolled a 12 with a history of 70.
Gotcha.
I rolled a 14 with history of 50.
Smart ass people. Lizette, you already knew this. You're not currently in the area, but Alice is like probably the most famous lesbian erotica historical fiction novelist right now.
Hell yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I just see the look on your face, and I'm like, yeah, it gets complicated when.
What do you mean? What? What gets complicated?
I don't know either.
When your teacher writes a lot of historical smut,
Oh.
tutorials get weird very quickly, and sometimes in a funny way, and sometimes in just a like, why am I sitting in this room kind of way. You'll know
I
how
need
it
to
is.
know. I need a bibliography. If you have a reading list, that would be ideal. But
Riley sighs and takes out a sheet of paper he prepared in advance and hands it to you.
Tom takes it and like puts it in like the pocket of their jumpsuit. They're like, "Thank you kindly."
Snap a picture of that.
Got you.
Everyone but Tansy, I'd like for y'all to make me a luck roll.
I got a 14. My luck is apparently 60.
Got a 96 out of 30.
Ooh.
22 roll on a luck of 60.
24 out of 50.
9 out of 50.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why I said that and didn't write down any of them. Everyone so quickly give it to me again. 24 out of 50 was Lizette.
96 out of 30 for Sissy.
Okay. Horace.
22 out of 60.
Okay.
Nine out of 50 for Tom.
and 40 out of 60 for Riley.
Okay. Only Tom will pick up on the specific thing that Tansy is definitely notices. Tansy, sort of in the corner of your eye, you see the color of your brother's suit just kind of like walk past, and you see him. You lock eyes with him, and he makes a gesture for you to like. He like is looking around, like not very conspicuously, but he's just like, "Can we talk?" sort of gesture.
I sort of like turn to everyone. I'll be right back. I'll be back before dinner, I promise. And gets up to follow after him.
Tom, you see the face of like kind of certainly not much younger than Tansy, but just almost sort of like a very well dressed but mousy looking like Korean young man. And Tansy just seems to be walking off with him, and that's pretty much that. You take a good look at him though.
What color's the suit?
It's like fucking jewel blue.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, Tom kind of makes a mental note and just, nods at Tansy as they get up at the table and walk away. But I mean, it seems like a normal reaction to me. I don't know. Not my place to interfere.
To follow Tansy, your brother begins to sort of be walking down one of the hallways, not stopping specifically quite yet. Just seems to still like walk past like the attendants and like the people, kind of like make this get as far sort of as away from this like main area. But he doesn't seem to like stop walking, even as y'all are beginning to like walk a considerable distance away from the dining area.
Going somewhere specific, or did you just want to be away from where mother and father can hear?
You're not getting an answer.
I think I'm going to like. I've been a couple steps behind. I think I'm gonna like speed up and try and catch up. And just are you okay? Is everything okay? I mean, nothing's okay, but is everything okay? What's wrong?
This won't be difficult, but could you make me our first composure roll?
All right. 17 out of 70.
You hold on to yourself as you are focusing on your brother and where his direction is. But he takes a tight turn around a corner, and you follow him as fast as you can, and your brother has disappeared. In front of you, where the corner shows to you the opening, the beginning of a new hallway. This is a hallway that you have not ever even chanced upon or ran through as a child. All of the eyes, the ceiling on the ceiling tiles, all of the paintings were in different colors and different art styles and different arrays. All of the eyes look in one direction. All of them are uniformly drawn, going down this long hallway. And there is only one door in this hallway, and it is the one that you find yourself in front of. And there is usually the doorknobs that were hands. They curled in some kind of way, but the doorknob on this door is a hand that looks like this.
I'm going to take the hand and turn the knob.
You get sucked into the door and it slams behind you.
Is it dark in here?
We'll get back to that. Lizette. You and Hillary open the door. And give me one hot second as I forgot how tempo works. You open the door, and it is quiet. There is the figure of someone under Diana's large bed. But there is no movement, and there is no noise.
Would I have learned enough in school by now to recognize rigor mortis from this distance?
You talked to Diana this morning. It wouldn't have gotten that far.
I take the deepest, sharpest breath I think I have ever taken. And I put a hand on Hillary's shoulder to just kind of stop her sort of near the threshold. And you said they're under the bed. Are they under the bed like they are curled up underneath it? Are they half in, half out? What do I see?
From where you are, I think it's almost like the ripe setup for like a basketball and like a fake body, like someone, a child that had like, run out kind of thing, but it's definitely too human-like to just be a basketball and some hay. It's just completely covered with a blanket.
As I grip the corner of the sheet before I lift it, because even if it is what I'm hoping it's not, it's something I've seen before, I've experienced before. But just in case, I turn back to Hillary and I say, Hillary, I need you to do me just one more favor for now.
Yeah.
The special invitations, have they all arrived? Are they all here? I think I said hi to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're
They're
all
all
seated
sitting
at the
with each
same
other now.
table, right?
Yeah.
Would you please, as quietly as possible, go down to the hall and bring them here?
Yeah. Yeah. And then Hillary runs out.
As soon as she's gone, I lift the sheet.
Give me a composure roll.
A 33 on a 40?
Nice. What you see is not rigor mortis, not anything natural. What you see is a dry husk of unmoisturized, dehydrated, completely devoid of water, skin, eye sockets sunken in, hair, dust. Almost as if this was a body that had been left out to dry after decomposing.
Is it wearing, or is the body adorned with anything, any clothing, any pieces of metal, anything that might indicate who it is or was?
Same nightgown and same hairstyle, same rings, same perfume even of Diana Lee.
There's a moment where I think I'm gonna scream. And then I have a thought. And I lay the sheet back down. Take a deep breath. Get up off the ground. And wait for Hillary to return with everyone else.
The scantily clad secretary type character comes down. Tansy has not returned to the table, but appears to Tom, Sithy, Harris, and Riley. Hi, so quickly, if all of you could come with me.
Sithy kind of looks at Tom.
The camera ready, I guess. Group picture?
Not exactly. And I think easy enough, she is shaking and distraught. Just if you could come with me, Lizette will explain everything. Just yeah, come on.
What do we do about Tansy? They're with their brother right now. Or they're they're with someone right now.
Wait, it's kind of important.
Okay.
I'll make sure to let Tansy know. Hillary starts to speed walk, which is not very helpful to people that haven't been to the mansion for a second, but as all of you just like certainly confused attempt to catch up with her, you make it down to the grand master hallway of Diana Lee's bedchambers. The door slightly ajar. Hillary opens the door for all of you, and as all of you sort of file in, she almost closes the door, but she says, if it's okay, I'm gonna step
Honey.
outside.
Honey, go have a drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then she closes the door behind all of you.
I apologize for what I imagine was a real brisk walk. Riley, I don't know that we've officially met. My name is Rosette. I'm sort of Diana's personal assistant. I curate the museum here. She's spoken about you quite a lot and says that you have a familiarity with unusual artifacts.
You could say that, yes. Are you okay?
I just have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
For all of you, actually. Who has a strong stomach?
Well, I can smoke floor cigarettes.
Okay. Sissy, you might want to.
Sissy stands back.
Riley, I wonder if you've ever seen anything that could do this. And I will, blocking it mostly with my body at first, just lift the corner of the sheet at an angle so only Riley can see.
Riley, you smell. Oh, sorry. You smell
No, no.
iron and sulfur.
That's what I was about to ask. Not to state the obvious, but this is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you might say that.
Have I read anything doing anything like this?
Before you could even think, something falls next to Scythy. And no one else can see. But Shik stands there, having seemingly dropped something, and is just like, "Sorry, was there something happening? I found something." And then just kind of like, he's 10 years old. He doesn't know what he's thinking. He's just like, do I just kind of, and it's just like moving the thing that he just dropped across the floor. So everyone is just seeing like a moving thing move across the floor. And it's a little cassette tape.
Dick, give that to Lizette, please. I gesture to Lizette.
Sissy takes a picture.
Is it bugs?
She's gonna look at the picture and see what came up on it.
So they give me an occult roll.
Okay.
We'll call this half difficulty.
All right. Well, let's see if I can roll a 2.
No.
Oh my god.
83.
Oh! Hey, listen, I'm gonna give you something. You see a floating cassette tape in the air, heading towards Lizette. Not like shooting, but like is like sort of presenting itself, just floating in the air. But Scythy, there's almost the way that the light, we'll say, reflecting in this room is looking at this picture is dissonant from the rest of how this light works in this room.
I think she looks at the picture and she's like, what is that? And like just starts trying to clean the viewfinder and then starts like looking at her lens and kind of the lighting in the room.
Lizette, there's a floating cassette tape.
With almost no fear, just curiosity will pull it out of the air. I've been in this room 1,000 times. I would know where her tape recorder is, yes?
Yeah, she has like the record player that has the tape cassette, has yeah, a bunch of stuff. Just not Bluetooth, just everything else. And it's just like right on her vanity, next to all of the jazz records and all the things.
I'm going to remove whatever tape was previously in there and set it aside. And put the new cassette tape in. Before I press play, I'm gonna look around the room and just sort of give people a chance to step out if they would like.
I'm gonna tell Schick to leave. Whether he listens to me or not is up to him. But
Okay, sorry. And then
you did good, kid.
dissipates.
We'll catch up later.
Gotcha. Like the last thing you see after he dissipates is his little thumb kind of in the air.
I press play.
I've sent all of you something.
Yeah, I think Tom is like not super in the middle of the action, just like their arms are crossed and like they're leaning against the wall. But
all of you hear in Diana's voice, affected by whatever audio recording. To my dearest great grandchildren, if you are reading this, then you have likely found my body. I apologize for having to leave so soon. I apologize even more for the fact that this will make things most confusing, legally and otherwise. There's a pause. Do try to understand where I am coming from as you read this. You've grown to become fine, complicated people with faults and fortunes alike. But you are not just the young people of this family. You are our legacy. Geniuses, experts. And what do experts do? They solve things, innovate new ways to experience life, create their fortunes. You, my grandchildren, must take on this last portion of the race. You'll know what I mean soon enough. The first one, or the few, to solve each piece of the puzzle will be the one true inheritor to the Lee legacy. All of the assets within this house, my savings, my collections, will become yours. Everything will be yours to keep or distribute, if you so choose. I have always loved you. Good luck, and be careful of each other. The race is on. Diana Lee.
I press stop.
Sissy would drop her camera, but it's on a strap, so it doesn't fall all the way to the floor.
Horace quietly muttered to himself.
Getting closer.
Horace just whispers to himself, still playing game.
Didn't get that last part. Still playing games.
Even at the end.
Yeah. Any last reactions?
If no one else says anything, Sithy's just gonna look at Lisette and say, "What do we do?"
Well, I don't know how well all of you knew grandmother, but she knew all about all of you. She kept tabs, just on your accomplishments, where you were in the world, just in case. I, you, I think, were some of her favorite people in the world. And I'm sorry for pulling you into this, but there are so few people in this family that cared about her and not what she had. And I can't speak for y'all, but I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do what she asked, just like she always did when it was the other way around.
Sorry you had to be the one to find her.
Fitting,
Okay.
somehow.
What do you need? I will help.
For now, this is so stupid. This is so Weekend at Bernie's, but I don't think we should tell anybody what happened to her because they're
What?
gonna have questions. So I
Oh,
think
To be
just
fair,
run
that's a great film,
interference.
so
It is a great
What?
film. And I mean, it did work out for them. I realize that life is not a movie, unfortunately, but I am a maladaptive daydreamer, so I'm willing to work on the fly. We need to keep the earlier generations away from this area in general, I think, and
they are going to swarm this place the minute.
of course they are, but I know what we'll tell them. It wouldn't be the weirdest thing she's ever done. That's why everybody's so mad. We're gonna tell him that she pulled a Bilbo Baggins on his 111st birthday,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
but we're not
Set
gonna
off a
understand
tell
these
him yet.
dragon fire?
references.
In the Lord of the Rings series, very, very little man, had a lot of big adventures, gets very, very old, and on his birthday has a dope party, and then just kind of pieces out, turns invisible and leaves. Very, very cool. And it is exactly the kind of thing that grandmother would do.
He can turn invisible?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I never asked, but it seemed like something that'd be in a repertoire.
101
It's
years
kinda-
old. You start getting powers at that age, right?
Exactly. You have to. It's like a major level up.
Even if she couldn't, it's the kind of thing people would believe.
Exactly. That's
Nothing
the
can
benefit
question
of being
that.
enshrouded in mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Benefit of being on top.
I don't want to enlist y'all, but
sorry.
she just says I don't want to enlist y'all into anything, but if you could at least give me a head start on trying to figure out what's going on, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Well,
And we tell Tansy?
Yeah,
You gotta find Tansy.
we have to tell Tansy. I thought they were with you.
No, I think they got up. I don't know where they went.
Okay, we'll find them.
With this smell that only Riley can smell, cold iron, with a ghost child wandering around, and a pack of wolves for relatives, and a missing Tansy. Catch us next week for Farewell Yellow House. We shall give some however long, however quick goodbyes as a reminder for growing Crit RPG's wonderful programming. Hellions of Karnocht, Mondays, 4 p.m. ET. Manhattan by Night, Vampire the Masquerade, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. ET. And remember, Reckoning and Dawn's Shadows finale is going to be October 6th. All socials going Crit RPG VODs will be available right after the show on Twitch and a week after on YouTube. I have been Josephine, your keeper. Sorry, everybody. Let's go down the line. Abaddon.
That is still me. I have been Lozette Lee, antique stealer and strong stomach haver. You can find me at Abadarlings on Twitter. You can also find me over on Exquisite Corpse Presents, which is a home for unusual TTRPGs. We have very gay, very broken games of D&D on Mondays and Saturdays, so we will be back tomorrow night for one of our homebrew campaigns. I'm having the best time. I'm stressed, but I'm having the best time.
Indy.
Right, yeah. I am still Indy, and today I played Horace Kong. You can catch me on Twitch or Twitter at It's Mr. Mask, and you can see a little bit more of my AP work, a little bit more superhero over on Dice Comics, which most of you podcatchers. Yeah, I've had a great time. Again, Horace Kong, who's apparently now a scrounger.
Rook.
Hi, yes, I am Rook, and I have been Riley Meta, your occultist. You can find me on Twitter at RJK Games. I'm not really active on Twitter, but I will post when stuff is happening like this. If you want to keep up with actual play stuff or game design stuff, yeah,
Really good
this,
games.
this has been very fun and honestly worth it being 4:30 a.m. right now.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Holy cow.
Yes. Joan, what's
British.
up?
It is not 4:30 a.m. where I am. I am Joan, aka Future Dr. Jones, aka Rogue Senna. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Rogue Senna. You can also catch me on Sunday morning, in which I will be the one on the off time zone, as Onyx in Mythic Odyssey of Theros, Strands of Fate on Girls Run These Worlds. You can also catch me occasionally as a guest host on Three Black Halflings. And yeah, stay tuned for all kinds of interesting things that are in the works. Definitely check my Twitter. That's where I'm the most active. Also, I had a great time, but
Whoa.
Sithy had a horrible time.
Horrible time.
Vibe.
Real, what's up?
Hello, I'm Rue. I use they, he, or z pronouns, and I've been playing the unfortunately lost Tansy, who uses they, them pronouns. You can find me on Twitter as at IlanaKnight13, and everywhere else as Ilana Knight without the 13, because I made a Twitter when I was 12, lost the password, and Twitter will not give me that back. Aside from this game, you can catch me on alternating Wednesdays on Altered Echo Archive. where I play in our homebrewed Curse of Strahd campaign. And you can also catch me on Sundays starting up again in November for the second season of Fire in the Dark on Huntsman's Hydra, which is a Blades in the Dark campaign. Aside from that, I'm a game designer and a sensitivity reader and an editor, so if you need any of those things, I'm here. And if you have the means, I would appreciate it if you backed Apocalypse Keys, because I'm its sensitivity reader. And the game's already funded and really cool, but we have some awesome stretch goals coming up that I'd love for folks to get to see.
Do it. And Amber.
Everybody, I'm Amber, also known as the Space Jamber on Twitter and Twitch. It is 11:30 here, so I'm gonna keep this as quick as possible. I'm a TTRPG writer, editor, podcaster, streamer, all of the above. A talent so varied, you can call me the TTRPG Swiss Army knife. God, things. I wrote a Taco Bell themed game called Fire Sauce Fever Dream. It's the cost of a quesadilla at Taco Bell, where you are literally just sitting in a Taco Bell and experiencing the weird bullshit that goes around you. That came out in August. You can find that at thespacejamber.itch.io. I'm also, oh my god, it's the finale of Glitter Hearts tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Altered Echo at 3 p.m. Eastern on Altered Echo Archives. Do you want an entirely different vibe than this, and you want lesbian mechs? Come watch us at for the finale of Glitter Hearts. God, what else? I'm playing Masks on Sunday on Tavernut's channel as part of the RPG-a-thon to support funding the National Network of Abortion Funds. It's gonna be great. I forgot what the fuck else I'm in. I'm tired. God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josephine, for such an incredible game.
Yeah!
Immaculate vibes and an so talented cast. Y'all are all amazing. I'm so blessed to be here.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for Fabian, our producer and artist, Rockets and Pens. Going Crit RPG is an incredible place to host this game. Perfect vibe. It's bedtime, baby. Thank y'all so much for coming. We'll see y'all later.